3, 2, 1.
What's up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, November 8th, 2018. Thank you so much for coming by. In this video, we're going to talk about Bitcoin. In particular, Bitcoin at a really key area of support, basically at the upper trend line of an important pattern we've been watching, and the bottom trend line of another important pattern we've been watching for quite a while now. So we're going to talk about that, and we're really going to compare it to the last bear market, because in terms of the charts, in terms of what some of the moving averages are doing right now, it looks like we could be potentially approaching the end of a bear market, but it could be a fake out. And I want to use the bear market that happened a few years ago as context to really get an idea of what might play out. So stay tuned for that. But right now, let's jump into the charts. And here we go. Right there is what you see. This is what I'm saying. We're testing some really key areas of support. We have this yellow line, which is this descending triangle we've been tracking, which is more of a midterm type of pattern. And then we have a short-term pattern with this rising wedge that you see on the screen. So what is Bitcoin doing right now? Bitcoin on the daily chart is literally testing both. It's testing the upper trend line of the descending triangle, the midterm pattern, and it's testing the bottom trend line of the short-term rising wedge. Both really key areas of support. So what Bitcoin has done recently, and we talked about this in the video the other day, is it broke through on the daily chart the upper trend line of this midterm descending triangle. It's a bullish move. What we always talk about on this channel is breaking upper trend lines is a revisit and a retracement to test that upper trend line. So it's really no surprise right now that Bitcoin has come back down and literally, like, we wicked right to the top of the trend line. So we're testing it. And in turn, we're also testing the shorter term bottom trend line of the rising wedge. Sorry. So let's pivot over to get a really clear picture of this to the 4-hour chart. And here it is on the 4-hour chart. So you can see on the 4-hour chart, if you draw your attention to the rising wedge on the short term, we did get a bullish break and we got a nice little retracement to test the upper trend line, but it failed. Since it's a short-term chart, right? Since it's a short-term pattern, it's not the end of the world, right? Because we came back down and we actually found support at the next trend line, the lower trend line. And ultimately, we found more significant support at this yellow line, which is that midterm, longer term pattern, this descending triangle. And not only that, we have confluence with the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA, which is really what I want to pivot to next and talk about. And this is on the 4-hour chart. Because you can see on the 4-hour chart, this 50 EMA approaching that 200 EMA. First off, we have support at both. But what we're really looking for is Bitcoin now going to find support, key support at this very confluent area with this trend line and then this trend line for a bounce up, and that's what we want to look out for. And more significantly, will the 50 EMA get across above the 200 EMA, the pink line, on the 4-hour chart? Because that's going to lead to what we really want, which is 50 EMA crossing 200 EMA on the daily chart. So that question really leads us to kind of wondering, well, what would that look like? And will it really define the end of this bear market? So obviously time only tells if it will be defined, if it happens. But based on previous charts, previous data that we have, and I'm zooming out right now on the daily chart so we have it ready because we will be coming back to it. We can go to the daily chart on from the bear market of 2015. And here it is. This is the daily chart in the bear market of 2015. So my question is, in terms of this chart, and I don't know why I just did that, but my question is, are we here or are we here? And this is the bear market chart on the daily. And let's go back to our chart. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll remove the drawing tools so you can see better. And there we are. So we have this clear leveling off of this 50 EMA on the daily chart. Clear leveling off, kind of starting to get straighter on the 200 EMA. And truly what we want is a complete leveling off and upward move where we cross above the 200 EMA. So that's what we want. And you can see in the bear market, exiting the bear market, we had this approach where we were kind of doing what we're doing now, right? Leveling off on both EMAs. And then we had this approach where we actually did start getting some bullish momentum. Even, we have this rising wedge right there. And we had the 50 EMA approach the 200 EMA on the daily chart in that bear market, but it got rejected. And so any gains we had, we lost and actually had some slight capitulation. And so this proved not to be the end of the bear market. It actually came shortly after where we had another approach to the 200 EMA with the 50 EMA and broke it. So I use that for context in terms of where we are, which is the question, are we here or are we here? Because right now, if we go back to the daily charts, we have this leveling off. So if we do get a nice little bull run right now and we get a run up, the question is, are we going to get a rejection at the 200 EMA similar to last time? Short-term capitulation, and then finally get our cross. That's kind of the question. And so when doing this charting, we're not doing it because we're predicting what and when it's going to happen. We're doing it so that we can anticipate what we're going to do at key moves. Because many people, if we do get a bull run right now, will most likely be beginning to accumulate if the 50 EMA right here begins to approach the 200 EMA. And this could be a very scary place to accumulate. That could be a very FOMO-ish place to accumulate. Because if we get rejection, similar to that last bear market, we got rejection here, and if people were FOMOing in, right, in these levels, they were going to be very short-term sad when we kind of plummeted back down. So when I do charting, I'm always looking to accumulate in these areas, right? So I'm always really looking for the worst to happen, but hoping for the best because, we all want a bull market. And I think the first thing we can look at in terms of, well, are we going to get that daily move, the 50 EMA to even approach the 200 EMA? We can go over to the bear market 2015 on the 4-hour chart, and we can take some similarities there. So here it is on the 4-hour chart. And a couple things I want to draw your attention to. On the 4-hour chart, we had these moves where the 50 EMA would cross above the 200 EMA and it just failed, right? In a bull market, it doesn't fail. It just stays above. It just stays above the 200 EMA as it grow. But it failed there, and then it failed this cross. And then finally, we had the successful cross, right? That led us into October and into that bull market. So if we take those charts and we compare it to where we are right now in terms of the 4-hour chart, which we can use this one. And I'm going to zoom out. And now I'm going to clear the drawing tools because it's very messy. You can see something similar happened in this bear market, which is to say we had a cross here, failure, cross here, failure, and now we're having another cross. And the question is it going to remain a bullish cross if we do cross? Similar to what happened here. That's the question. Those are some things I'm looking out for. My memory on this camera is about to go, and I think I did a good job of wrapping up this video in terms of bringing all the technical analysis together. I would say keep an eye out on the 4-hour chart right now and see if we get this cross, the 50 EMA above the 200 EMA, and see if we find support here at the bottom. It could be the first steps into truly the end of this bear market. So time will tell. Anticipate everything. Anticipate everything. I'll see you in the next video, and God bless.